Hello there and welcome along to Upping the Ante, our 12th and final Cheltenham instalment. That means only one thing, ladies and gentlemen, Cheltenham is just around the corner. I'm David Jennings from the Racing Post. I'm delighted to be joined once again by my regular contributor, Mr. Gavin Lynch. How are you?
Good, Dave. How are you?
You must be getting extremely excited.
Struggling to sleep now. This time next week the champion hurdle is on, so...
Yes, we will know the identity of the champion hurdle winner this time next week. I think I can predict the future. I think it's going to be Bouvard Air.
That's a wild selection, yeah.
And our old buddy Chris Graham from 188Bet, he's back.
Hi guys, good to see you again. 1 week to go. I'm sure you're just as excited as me. And coming up, I'll be telling you about some of the market moves we've seen here at 188Bet over the last 7 days.
And we certainly will be back to you later in the show, Chris. But it's a big day today, Gavin. We haven't had a show since the handicap weights were revealed.
Correct.
10 handicaps, 5 hurdles, 5 chases.
Yep.
We've been up all night, every night, trying to find you, the winners of all the handicaps. And we think we might have found them. So we're going to run through the handicaps day by day. We'll do it as quickly as we can so you can start your studying yourself. And we're going to start off on day 1 with the ultimate handicap chase, Gavin.
Yes.
We've the betting here, 8-1 Gold Present, 9-1 Kustar Civola, Single Farm Payment 10s, the Storyteller 12s, Monbeg Notorious 12s, and the Plotting Shed 14-1.
I'm going to go for Bar.
Yeah.
The name of the horse is Snow Falcon.
Snow Falcon,
Yeah.
Noel Meade.
Noel Meade, yeah. And Sean Flanagan. You were talking to Sean Flanagan, were you?
I was on a preview night with Sean Flanagan in Casablanca on Monday night, and very sweet on Snow Falcon. I think they think he's quite well handicapped.
Yeah, he's off 149 in Ireland, and he also got 149 in the UK, so that's quite good. You have to remember that last year in Aintree, he was beaten less than 2 lengths by Yanworth and Super Sunday in the 3 mile hurdle, level weights, good ground. So to have him in off 149 in the handicap, he's had 4 runs over fences, he's had a win, he was 5th the last day to Monolly in the flow gas over 2.5. All his runs have been between 2.3 and 2.5. When he steps up to 3 mile or just over for the ultimate, that'll really suit him. So I think carrying something like 11 stone 3, he's valued at 16-1.
And if I was to say to you, Noel Meade is in my ear, what's that, Noel? Snow Falcon is running the RSA, what would you say?
I probably wouldn't back him with the RSA, but it's non-run or no bet with 188Bet, so...
You think they'd be mad not to run here?
Well, I think they have a better chance. I think, he's not quite up to the Presenting Percy class, so off 149, carrying 11.3 in this. As a novice, I think he'd have a good chance.
And what price are we talking about?
16-1.
16-1 Snow Falcon for the ultimate. And I'm going to be taking you on with Dingo Dollar from the Alan King stable. Alan King obviously dealt a severe blow with So Royal, who's out of the Racing Post Arkle. But I think Dingo Dollar, he won the race a couple of years ago at Ben Salem. He kind of knows what it takes to win the race. And Dingo Dollar is right at 143 now. I thought he was very impressive last time. Right? He's a slick jumper. And it's kind of everything comes naturally to him. He's the type I like for the race. Yeah. And he's improving, and he's battle hardened. He's not a bridle horse.
I think Alan King says he wants good ground as well, which he should get. So.
Well, time will tell. I'm not too sure about the ground, but yeah. So it's Dingo Dollar for me, and it's Snow Falcon for Gavin Lynch. So also on Tuesday we've got the Close Brothers Novices Handicap Chase, and Gavin, guess what?
What?
We're going to agree. Take it away. You make the case first of all.
Any second now, I presume.
Any second now.
So it's had 4 runs over fences. It was 2 from 4 over hurdles. It was quite decent. When you see that it hasn't won over fences yet, you might be normally quite worried. But when you see the company that it's held, it's been second to Monolly, Invitation Only, and Footpad. So the 3 of them could actually win the Grade 1s. The last day was 3rd to Footpad and Petite Mouchoir. It gets in here off 145, same as the Irish rating. This is only going to be probably not 140 to 145 because there's 34 horses between that rating at the moment. So the most he'll probably have to give away is £5. And I think he's the best horse in the race.
I certainly do. There was double figures available. I'm sure Gavin got some of the double figures, but I think he could go off a strong favourite for this race.
It'll be interesting to see, and it's one thing to keep an eye on all week, is Barry Geraghty has choices to make in every handicap. And in this race, obviously, is a choice between Move with the Times.
And you could see a certain Or Walsh perhaps next to any second now?
For his dad.
For his dad?
Yeah, it could happen. Yeah, it'd be interesting, but keep an eye on what Barry is riding in the races.
And the old saying that we all absolutely hate comes in here. Ted Walsh, he doesn't send rags to Cheltenham. He knows what he has. He knows the time of day, and Ted, I think, thinks that Any Second Now is considerably better than a mark of 145. I think Any Second Now is the best horse in the race.
Yeah, well, he's joint top weight at 145, so yeah, he hopefully he will be for us that have backed him.
Yeah, certainly. So
he's a good jumper too.
He is a good jumper, and he'll be well schooled. He has a touch of class. So that's Any Second Now for both myself and Gavin in the Close Brothers Novices Handicap Chase. So that's the 2 handicaps on day 1.
Yes.
Quick mention on the National Hunt Chase, the 4-miler. I got blissful news last night from Gordon Elliott at preview night to hear that Jury Duty runs in the 4-miler. He's not going to wait for the Grand National. He's going to run in the 4-miler. I think Jamie Codd is going to ride. And if you remember, a couple of weeks ago, I put up Jury Duty at
after he got beaten in Ace,
a double figure price, 16 to 1 perhaps.
Yes.
So I think Dunicost goes for the RSA. So
just one to point out, I was going to mention later on about the National Hunt Chase. At the moment, I think there's a horse very much overpriced in it. I know it's not a handicap, but it's worth a mention. There's a horse called Rathvinden. It's going to be ridden by Patrick. Patrick told us the weekend, do you remember the Dublin Racing Festival? Told us he was going to ride it that day. It's rated £2 superior to Jury Duty, and at the moment Rathvinden is twice the price. Jury Duty is 6s, Rathvinden is 12, so to me that doesn't make sense. No,
okay. So at the current prices, you'll be back in Rathvinden?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's
I think it'll go off 6 or 7 to 1.
Okay, that's interesting. So there could be a plunge in Rathvinden, and especially with Patrick riding. Moving on to Wednesday, and the Coral Cup is obviously a hugely competitive handicap. The weights, there's been plenty of money for plenty of horses. There's been plenty of plunges already. What do you like in it?
I don't really like anything in it at the moment. William Henry sets a good standard. Blue Wet Rouge ran well in the Betfair hurdle. Max Dynamite, his jumping is a bit questionable. Duke de Geneva is in here off 147. There's a few horses that I was going to mention for the Martin Pipe, but if 1 or 2 of them got in here, I'd fancy them. I'll just give you
take it away.
Deal d'Estraval. I don't think Flawless Escape could go here, but if Deal d'Estraval or Sire De Ballet, if either of those 2 run in the Coral Cup, I'd back them, or I might back them in the Martin Pipe.
There was a lot of people getting hugely excited about Sire De Ballet.
Yeah, I'm going to mention him later on for the Martin Pipe, but if he runs here, I'd be backing him.
And what do you think he's going to run?
He's rated, he got £6 coming across the water, which is a lot, but he's 144. I'd say he'd probably go Martin Pipe, but just it depends on the owner and it depends on splitting horses up and stuff like that, you know.
Okay, well I think the best handicapped horse in this race is Le Bruel, trained by Ben Pauling, who has not fulfilled the potential. Ben has been shouting from the rooftops about Le Bruel, but his form is working out quite well. The Aintree form, the horse that beat him there, has bolted up since twice. And I think a marker 139 underestimates him. He's a real slick jumper. He's a brilliant jumper. And I think if he gets into a rhythm, he could be hard to catch, I think. But he's a double figure price as well, Le Bruel. So I'd certainly be keeping an eye on him from the Ben Pauling stable. So that's the Coral Cup on Wednesday. Also on Wednesday, we have got the Fred Winter Juvenile Handicap Hurdle. Always an interesting affair. It's wide open this year, Gavin.
Yeah, sure. I think it's 10 to 1 the field in some places. The one thing I'm really, really looking forward to the week is watching Davy Russell and Machuca, because he's going to have to, I've said this before, he's going to have...
Hold on a second. Of all the things you're looking forward to, the Cheltenham Festival,
yeah, well, it's one of them.
How Davy Russell will ride Machuca. We have Altior, we've got Bouvard there, we've got Might Bite, and you're looking forward to Davy Russell and Machuca.
I'm just trying to make a boring race exciting.
Okay, you're doing a good job. Go on.
Paul Carby and Archibald, I think it was 2005. Everybody knows that Machuca has to be held up very late. Davy's riding really well this season. He's got loads of confidence. Gordon Elliott will tell him. Gordon won't get annoyed if he comes too late, put it that way. So to watch him how late he's going to come on Machuca will be great.
And he made an extraordinary comment, Gordon, after he won in Fairy House. We said about the Fred. He says, I've been knocking this horse all the time. He says, but maybe he's better than I think he is. He says, I guarantee you one thing. He'll be absolutely hard on the bridle coming down to the last. He said, whether he gets up the hill is anyone's guess. But he said he will be on the bridle coming down to the last. And that brings you back to kind of Campiador, that kind of thing, where you know he's going to travel into the race.
He's a good horse to back. Maybe you could back him and lay him and running, perhaps.
Yeah.
But another horse that's going to have that's going to travel very well in the race is a Spanish bred called Nube Negra for the Skeltons. 2 wins out of 3. It was behind Apple Shakir. That horse travels brilliant as well. So it's a very open race.
As you know already, a couple of weeks ago, I named my colours to the mast with Style the Guard from the Nicky Henderson stable here. And I haven't seen anything since to put me off. I think the Dr. Bartolo form is quite good. And Style the Guard is rated 137, and I think he could have a bit in hand. He's going to be towards the top of the weights, but I think Style the Guard is very, very solid. Now, before we get on to day 3, we've got to bring Chris in. We've got to bring Chris into the show. And Chris, what we want to know is, when everybody was lounging around in the snow, watching Line of Duty, watching Coronation Street over and over again, what was the best backed horse with 188bet during the snow?
I'll mention 3 if you don't mind, guys. Maldini in the Kim, you're 10 to 1 and 6 to 1. Any second now in the Close Brothers Handicap, 12 to 1 and 91. But the big one, really, the best backed horse during these snowy few days has definitely been Active Valor in the Fred Winter. 14 to 1 into 8 to 1. It's a 6-point smash, this particular horse. The Nichols horse won on the soft at Newcastle. in December and was second to We Have a Dream at Musselburgh in testing conditions. So we know he likes the ground, and 188 bet partner has been lapping him up over these last few days. 14 to 1 into 8 to 1 Active Valor.
Righty-o, Chris. So, Maldini, Kimure, big chance?
Yep. I'm going to talk about him later. Go on.
Okay. Annie second now. We both fancy Annie second now. And Active Valor for the Fred Winter, Paul Nicholls.
Yeah, sure, it has to have a good chance. It was second.
Remember during its Gerlines days?
Yeah, true, yeah. It ran well the last day behind Nicky's in Musselburgh, so it has to have a chance in an open race.
Okay, before we go on to Thursday, we're going to get Chris back in. Right, Chris, what we want to know is there any chance whatsoever that Petit Mouchoir, the plunge horse in the Racing Post Arkle, could he usurp Footpad in the Racing Post Arkle market?
Not for me, guys. Indeed, for the 188 bet traders. I just think the gap's too big between these two horses in the betting. Although, in fact, we're pretty short on Petit Mouchoir at 2 to 1 at the moment. But Footpad's done nothing wrong this season, and obviously it's been a bit of a negative weekend. It was that drift on Saturday in the betting, and a lot of people are putting up Petit Mouchoir. It was Mick Fitzgerald and ITV Racing on Saturday. I noticed that for the Arkle, but for me the gap's too big here, and I just think Footpad is one in these testing conditions at the Dublin Festival and in his beginner's chase back at the start of this season. It's a Willie Mullins horse. If Get a Bird wins the Supreme, you probably like to think that his price will contract further leading up to this race. So I just think, Petit Mouchoir seems to be the fashionable choice at the moment. For me, the gap will remain intact between Footpad and Petit Mouchoir in Arkle betting.
So Footpad, according to Chris Graham from our sponsors 188bet, is guaranteed to go off favourite for the Racing Post Arkle. Do you agree, Gavin?
Footpad will, yeah. Guaranteed. One thing to watch out for Petit Mouchoir in the parade ring beforehand. He went a little bit mad in Leopardstown. They had to bring him back out to the saddle enclosure to put Davy up on him. So keep an eye out on him before the race, that he calms down a bit. But
he's a bit like yourself, Gavin, a bit hot-headed.
A bit highly strung, yeah.
Yeah. But there's good highly strung, there's talented highly strung individuals as well. So that is Petit Mouchoir, who's likely to go off second favourite for the Racing Post Arkle behind Footpad. So we've 2 days down. We have 4 handicaps done, Gavin. There's only 6 to go.
Okay.
Moving on to Thursday, and the first handicap of the day is a hugely competitive affair.
Yeah.
It's the Pertemps final.
Yeah, I mean, all the ones at the head of the betting, the betting has been changing a lot over the last week. The one I'd like in it most is Who Dares Wins. Very good flat horse. He's rated 97 on the flat. He ran numerous times last summer, and he qualified in November when he was third in Kempton, and he's after having, say, 4 months off. He's going to come here a fresh horse. He was third in the Coral Cup last year off 146, gets in here off 149. He's no problem with the trip. The Coral Cup usually will be a better race than the Pertemps, so I think he's got a great chance. And again, just keep an eye out on the jockey bookings, sorted out in Glenlow, same owner, so which one Barry rides. Yes,
certainly so, and I really like one in this. It's been well backed all week. There was a little bit of 16 and 14 to 1 available, some of us might have taken. And it is Louis Vac Pouch from the Philip Hobbs stable, whose stable has been in and out. But this horse hasn't ran since Aintree in November. He won a handicap hurdle off a mark of 132. Back in third that day was none other than Beer Goggles, who has since obviously won the big staying hurdle at Newbury, where he had, you know what I mean, Harry and Thistlecrack behind. And Louis Vac Pouch, if ever there was a David Jennings horse, Louis Vac Pouch is it.
Why does he travel really well?
Like a dream. He's keen. You'll see his head.
Is he a Lammy Surge? Is he?
He is a bit of a Lammy Surge. He's like a mini Lammy Surge. It will be an identical type of ride. He'll be hitting out the back, but he does stay. And the key thing about Louis Vac Pouch is he's improving and he's been kept for the race. Hasn't ran since November. He went up to a mark of 145. But he just oozes class. He won, if anybody gets a chance, just have a look at the handicap hurdle he won at Suddle last season. It was an incredible performance. He pulled for the whole way, and he still managed to have energy left to win. It was obviously a poor enough contest. It was at Suddle. Suddle form is not exactly Cheltenham Festival form, but Louis Vac Pouch, I think, is tailor-made for the Pertemps final, and I think off a mark of 145, he could take some stopping. So Louis Vac Pouch for me, and Who Dares Wins for Gavin. Next we have the Brown Advisory Plate, which is developing into one of the races of the festival.
Yeah, no, to me it's the most competitive handicap at the Cheltenham Festival. Your horse, Tully's, that you've tipped up, has a great chance, won last year, etc. The two I like in a person is Patrick's Park. It won very well in Leopardstown of 123, went up to 133, gets £2. It's rated 135, so it's number 82 on the list at the moment. You would think that it won't get in, but in the staying races like the Ultima and the Kim Muir in this race.
We'll take a couple of them.
Yeah, so last year 82 actually did get in. But the horse I like the most in is King Sox, trained by David Pipe. It was second a couple of years back to Footpad in a Grade 1 and no tie. It was off for 20 months. It ran last month in Kempton, finished third of 4 behind another one of your horses, Modus. And it's been dropped from 143 to 140. And David Pipe has won this race 3 times in the last 8 years. He's very good at the handicap. So for me, King Sox is a big danger.
King Sox for Gavin Lynch. Now, I have tipped Tully East at a nice 16 to 1 for this race. I have 2 worries. The ground and the track. It was on the old course last year, which suited Tully East. It's on the new course this year, obviously it's on the 3rd day. And I just worry, there's a lot of rain forecast for Thursday.
Okay.
And I don't think it's going to suit Tully East, but I still think he's got a cracking chance. But 2 weeks ago, I was, you know, the way the closer the event is getting, the less positive I'm getting. And I'm going to put up an alternative.
Okay.
And it is one of my cliff horses.
Lovely.
Yes, I'm dangling off the cliff, just hanging on. It is Le Parisienne, also owned by JP McManus.
Another bridle horse.
And no, not necessarily.
Okay.
I just think if you go back to his form in the Beth Victor Gold Cup, he was 3rd that day. Second was Starkitect, who would have absolutely bolted up had he not picked up that horrific injury at Cheltenham in December. I thought that Le Parisienne was given plenty to do that day, didn't jump great. They have done intensive schooling with him. He's off the same mark. He's back down to 150. He's been trained for the race. I just think he's a type of nearly horse that someday he's going to put it all together. Ran well in the Grand Annual last year. I think the extra trip will suit. And I think Le Parisienne off a mark of 150 will be bang there in the Brown Advisory Plate.
He'll certainly get in anyway.
Yeah, he will get in off a mark of 150. So that is the Brown Advisory Plate. The final handicap on Thursday is the Kim Muir, and we have spoke at length about Scoater,
Yes.
whose price is still contracting despite being beaten a huge distance.
He was beaten 60 lengths, I think, the last day. The one worry, as we all know, with Scoater is his jumping. He has been favourite for the Martin Pipe, and again, actually last year, the betting last year I think was 5 to 1, 11 to 2, the same 2 horses. Last year, Scoater ran off 135, he's in the same rating this year. Maldini ran off 143, same rating this year. The talk is that something happened to tack that day in the Kim Muir last year. Maybe it did, maybe it didn't.
With Scoater?
With Maldini,
Oh,
actually.
with Maldini, yeah.
Yeah, Scoater unseated Jamie Codd at what was the 4th or 3rd last. Maldini off 143. The last day ran, it was a big eye catcher behind Imitation Only, a punch down over 2.5. Before that, it ran twice behind Presenting Percy in Galway and also in Fairyhouse. So I think Maldini's got a massive chance. I won the Pertemps 2 years ago, crying out for good ground. I don't know who rides it yet, but Maldini at 6 to 1. There's been a lot of money for the last few days, but I think 6 to 1's okay.
So Maldini for Gavin Lynch, and this is not a race. Scoater is a horse that should be well handicapped and needs to put it all together and needs to win one of these races. We're sick talking about him being well handicapped. It's about time he went and did it, and hopefully he will do so. In the Kim Muir at the 2018 Cheltenham Festival. Now, before we get on to day 4, the 4th and final day of the Cheltenham Festival, Chris, what we want to know is which horse will make or break 188bet's Cheltenham Festival?
Well, I suppose our head trader here at 188bet, and he did say no one horse should ever have the ability to destroy a Cheltenham Festival. And he said, I'm a professional, I would never let that happen. So anyway, but he did mention three horses, and none of them are really outside the box, to be honest, lads. He mentioned Get a Bird on Tuesday, which would be bad news. Might Bite on Friday. We built up a lot of liabilities in Might Bite over the season and the Gold Cup. But you won't be surprised to hear it is Sam Crow. We went best price on Sam Crow, industry best price on Sam Crow on Sunday, 10 to 11, and we took an absolute truckload of bets. So we built up a big fat liability on Sam Crow over the weekend. Spoke to the traders again, and they said they're going back in to take him on next Wednesday, or indeed next Tuesday, if he runs in the Supreme, taking on Sam Crow. But basically at the moment, he'll make or break the 188bet Festival if he wins or loses. Also, we'll have an offer for Willie Mullins on day 2. So Willie Mullins is a really strong day on day 2. It will cost us a lot of money, but it's that name again. It's Sam Crow for the make or break horse here at 188bet for next week's Cheltenham Festival.
So Sam Crow, Sam Crow, Sam Crow. It's all about Sam Crow for so many people. Gavin, in a sentence, how good is Sam Crow?
Yeah, he looks the real deal. I wouldn't like to be laying him anyway. He's gone odds on. He's roughly, I think, 8 to 11 on Betfair. Sure, he looks a winner, doesn't he?
Sam Crow, I suppose, is the equine equivalent of you in the horse racing tipping industry.
Yeah.
He's the one that everybody wants to watch. He's the one that everybody relies on. He is the Gavin Lynch.
We have to think of Fahey the Machine, and we think of Sam Crow the UFO. We have to come up with a name from somewhere.
Yeah, Sam Crow, any ideas? off the top of your head?
The UFO.
Sam Crow, the UFO. Oh, if that cop's on now,
Yeah.
Sam Crow, the UFO. Gavin Lynch has copyright. So there you go. Sam Crow, the UFO. Hopefully, will be winning the Ballymore Properties. It's not properties anymore, actually.
Is it not?
It's insurances, I think.
Oh.
Yeah, the Ballymore Insurances.
I
not
just said the
necessarily.
Ballymore.
So Sam Crow is 188 bets. Make or break horse at the 2018 Cheltenham Festival. So moving on to Friday, Gavin, the county hurdle. And sure, the county hurdle, there's only 2 words that we can say next, and that is Hunter's Call.
Hunter's Call, yeah. We've mentioned him a couple of times before.
God, you bloody won't shut up about him.
He's, I think he's around 8-1 at the moment, which I think is still fair.
Have you found an extra 100 words to make your argument even better?
No. I'll keep it short, but I just hope Jack Kennedy rides. He rode him in Ascot when he won. He's only gone up £9. The race has worked out well. He's only had the one run for Ollie Murphy, so to me, Hunter's Call, great chance.
If Hunter's Call wins the county hurdle,
yes.
would you back no other winner at the Cheltenham Festival, which would obviously be a travesty? Would you break even?
No.
Okay. Okay, so it's a
But
middle of the road bet.
It'll be good.
It would be good, yeah. God forbid. Moving on to the Martin Pipe Conditional Riders Handicap Hurdle, and this has turned in. This is one of the races of the festival that has turned into, exposed handicappers into like proper graded performers that would be running in graded races, and even the top 5 in the list here. Hopefully he will run in the county hurdle, obviously, but the top 5 in the betting at 188 bet, they're all graded performers,
and they're all give or take novices as well. It's not just for old handicappers, as you say. I think this race is turning into as good a race as the Coral Cup. They're very similar. I have to mention Deal Destraval because he was second to Off You Go over 2 miles in the Coral Hurdle. So if Off You Go was going to have a chance, Deal Destraval stepping up in trip.
You managed to get Off You Go in there. Well done.
Just about. But he's won over the trip 2-5 in Tremor. The last day the trip was too short, so he has to have a great chance. Diaz de BF, is that how you pronounce it?
That's very well done.
Yeah. It was 5th in the Lanzarote in Kempton, and that race is working out well as well, so he has to have a chance.
And
too.
I think Sean Bowen has been booked to ride, which will obviously be a big bonus.
Yeah. And the horse I have to mention above all else is Sire De Ballet. In Ireland, it's got a rating of 138. It's got £6 to come across. Second to Out of the Loop in Fairyhouse only 10 days ago.
Yeah, what do you make of that race?
Out of the Loop won very easy. And Sire De Ballet was an eye catcher in second.
Not so much an eye catcher as maybe got into the retina in your eye and pulled it out and made you watch him maybe.
Yeah, he it was his first run in 10 months, so he's entitled to come on a lot for that run, I'd say.
Yeah.
Don't forget, he was third to Mick Jazz on his first run for Gordon Elliott. He's up to 144, but he could be a graded horse.
He certainly could. That is Sire De Ballet.
So he's the one I'd go for in this race. But it's very open, it's very competitive, and if 1 or 2 of them went to the Coral Cup, I'd back them in that race.
What price is Sire De Ballet?
Bar.
So 14 to 1, Sire De Ballet.
Yeah.
For the Martin Pipe Conditional Riders Hurdle.
Do you like Ante that?
I did like Diaz de BF, which you pronounce far better than me. I think the triple suit, I think the trackle suit, I think he's improving. But there's so many. Flawless Escape, Gordon Elliott, he was the one when I interviewed Gordon last week that he was really positive on. He gave him a cracking chance. Obviously, Deal Destraval is an improving horse. I did a Cheltenham preview night with Rich Ritchie, and he certainly wouldn't have put you off Deal Destraval. So there's so many cases that can be made for so many of them. So the most likely winner, I think, is probably Diaz de BF.
Okay.
And last, but by no means least, because it's one of my leading fancies of the Cheltenham Festival. At this stage, you'll all be tired, you'll all be hungover, pockets will be empty, but just even if they are empty, just go looking for a few pennies on the ground and stick it on Don't Touch It, Gavin, because it is Don't Touch It time. And for the Grand Annual, the last race of the festival, I will certainly be nailing my colours to Don't Touch It, and have already. I think Don't Touch It is the best handicapped horse in the race. Will I make my case again? Are people sick of hearing me talk about Don't Touch It?
Probably.
Okay, well, I think he's the best handicapped horse in the race. I think you can guarantee that he will have the cheek pieces, which he wore for his last win at the Punchestown Festival, back on for the first time since. I think he has got the form in the book. I think a reproduction of even that Punchestown Festival win will get him bang there. He's been trained for the race. His form figures would not inspire confidence, but pay no attention to them. And if you go back to that hurdle form, Petit Mouchoir, Brain Power, York Hill were all behind him at the Punchestown Festival. And he is a good jumper, and he's working well. So put all them together.
You must be delighted that his Irish rating is 149 and he's been left on that as well. So that was encouraging.
Yeah, it's very interesting that the Irish handicap marks 140 or higher have been mainly left the same.
Yeah, no, a lot of them are left. Yeah.
So don't touch it. How would you?
Yeah, massive
up his
chance.
chances?
Massive chance. And again, you presume Barry will ride it. One horse to keep an eye on as well as roughly a 10 to 1 shot is Vanna 2. Was with Nicky, now with David Pipe. 5 runs. He's been dropped from 158 to 151. Again, David Pipe is good at the handicap, so he's one to keep an eye on.
Certainly is. He's one of the preview nights that everybody seems to be mentioning.
Okay.
Vanna 2, he's one of them that people are latching onto. And funny enough, the one question that comes in for the crowd at all these preview nights, and I know you'll be on preview nights as well, the one horse that's asked about more than any other horse is Ivanovic Gorbatov. Do you think he's got a chance in the county hurdle?
Well, yeah, he was very heavily punted last year. He ran a decent race. He had to go chase the leader, I think, turning in. He's obviously winner of a triumph, so better ground, I'd say, is crucial for him. Okay. So I'm sure watching this show, there's going to be plenty of Ivanovic Gorbatov fans. So don't throw away your dockets just yet, according to Gavin Lynch. So that is the 10 handicaps at the Cheltenham Festival. Before we reveal our final selections for Up in the Ante, and what is a very emotional last show, Gavin. It is. I've a tear in my eye, yes.
Lump in my throat, you have a tear in your eye. Put them together and you've got tears.
I'm going to miss you.
Yeah. So before we come on to our 5 best bets, what we're going to do is we're going to mark all of our horses out of 10, what we think their chances at this stage are out of 10. So this is Gavin. So I want you to mark every one of these out of 10.
We'll do it quick.
I'll call the name, you give the figure. Causa Causas.
9.
Esport de Len.
0.
Footpad.
9.
Bit slower. Cracking Smart.
0.
Undeso.
9.
Holographic.
7.
Scoater.
5.
Fountains Windfall.
0.
Tiger Roll.
6.
Lorena has to be a 10.
Just I'd like to say 9.
Oh! Off.
Oh dear.
Off you
0.
go. Burning Ambition.
Yeah, I think he's an 8.
Black Bow.
8.
Hunter's Call.
8.
Yanworth.
7.
Okay. Well, you're lukewarm on Yanworth
No, it's an open race. It's good stairs.
Okay, and rolls reversed here.
Okay. Brain power. Sorry.
Gavin, bit of respect,
No, I had
please.
a cough. Brain power.
7.
Jeez. Present and Percy.
8.
Maria's Benefit.
6.
Tully East.
7.
Score Tour.
6.
Lammy Surge.
7.
Don't touch it.
8.
Jury Duty.
8.
No comment.
Wrong race. Going for the 4-miler now. 0.
Okay. Modus.
8.
Then we're on to Chef de Zobo.
Oh, 8.
Balco de Flo.
8.
Style de Guard.
8.
8. Oh, everything's 8.
Everton is 8, yeah. God, if there is Strictly Come Dancing producers watching, I think they're going to have to sign us both up, Gavin. Because that was a phenomenal recalling of numbers there.
Usually the guy on the one in Ireland says 9 from Brian, so you can say 8 from Dave.
Yeah, but that doesn't rhyme.
Not really.
Yeah, the
I
concept was good.
I was trying.
Yeah, between Sam Crow the UFO and an 8
Yeah.
from Dave, Gavin, I think your profession as a tipster will remain.
I think so.
So what everybody wants to know is the horses that Gavin Lynch in the final Upping the Ante show is going to put up before the Cheltenham Festival, and they are.
We give 5, yeah.
We have 5 to add to the
Okay.
list. Okay, so get your pens and papers at the ready. Here is Gavin Lynch's list.
Snow Falcon each way.
We want the
sorry.
race, the name of the horse, the race, and the price.
Okay, the Ultima Snow Falcon, I think it's 16 to 1.
Okay.
The Close Brothers also on the Tuesday, any second now each way at 8 to 1. On the Thursday, the Brown Advisory Plate, King Socks each way at 10 to 1.
Oh, okay.
The Kim Muir on the Thursday, Maldini each way at 6 to 1. And also on the Friday, the Martin Pipe, Sire De Ballet, I think is 16 to 1.
Okay, that's an interesting quintet from Gavin Lynch. And my 5 are Louis Vac Pouch for the Pertemps final on Thursday, 9 to 1. Le Bruel for the Coral Cup on Wednesday, 14 to 1, I think. Le Parisienne for the Brown Advisory Plate on Thursday.
Yep.
14 to 1. Any second now for the Close Brothers Novices Handicap Chase on Tuesday, 9 to 1. And Dingo Dollar for the Ultima Handicap Chase on Tuesday at 12 to 1. So Gavin, guess what?
That's it.
That's it. That is all from the 12th and final instalment of Upping the Ante before the Cheltenham Festival. It's been a blast. We've really enjoyed it. Have you enjoyed it?
Yep.
Chris has definitely enjoyed it. Hopefully we'll see you again when we'll be previewing the 2019 Cheltenham Festival.